He's even in this community.
Good morning, Madam Chair and everyone here this morning. Welcome to the Standards Learning and Accountability Committee meeting. It is now 9:30, and I would like to call this meeting to order. I think I may have hit the gavel too soon. It is my observation that we do have a quorum. Board members, please be reminded to speak directly into your microphones so that the recorder will pick up the sound of the minutes. This is critical to ensure that minutes can be transcribed without leaving out important information. Thank you. Do we have any visitors or news media to recognize this morning? Okay. Well, I would just like to welcome those of you who are in attendance and thank you for your interest in the work of the State Board of Education. Committee members, are there any objections to approving the minutes as presented? Okay, hearing none, the minutes are approved by unanimous consent. This morning, I am asking for a motion for an amended agenda for this morning. And the purpose of this amended agenda is to withdraw SLA action item number 1 so that further information may be gathered at a later date.
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Thank you for the motion, Dr. Hanley, and for the second, Ms. Terrible. Amen. All right, so we do not have anyone signed up for public comments today. So we're going to get right into our business at hand. Action item, which was number 2, will now be number 1 for approval. It is our SLA first reading, number 1, our first reading of the 2003 South Carolina College and Career Ready Mathematics Standards, presented this morning to us by Ms. Sandra Ammons. Ms. Ammons is the team lead for the liberal arts in the Office of Assessment and Standards in the Division of College and Career Readiness.
I just wanted to take a minute and introduce Ms. Ammons and say that we're really excited about this next draft of the math standards. Ms. Ammons will go into all the wonderful details about what these standards change, but I think one piece that I want to draw your attention to is how we've been able to prioritize the standards. You'll notice that in some middle school contents, it used to be over 100 standards that were available for assessment. We have really worked to prioritize those standards, and so we have brought them much more in line to what the other grade levels see. And so that's a really significant improvement in this next version of standards. But Ms. Ammons is going to walk us through the presentations. Ms. Ammons.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here today. It is my pleasure to present the draft of the 2023 South Carolina College and Career Ready Mathematics Standards on behalf of the Office of Assessment and Standards and all of those who have participated in the review and revision processes. Thank you. The Office of Assessment and Standards is seeking first reading approval of the 2023 South Carolina College and Career Ready Mathematics Standards. As you can see from the timeline on this slide, the development of this draft has been quite an extensive process. The process began in 2021 with the independent reviews of the 2015 math standards by stakeholder committees facilitated by both the Education Oversight Committee and the Office of Assessment and Standards. Using the recommendations from these reviews and research, the writing team, with assistance from a vertical alignment team, developed a draft of standards that was refined through feedback from public review and focus groups. Upon approval of the standards document, the Office of Assessment and Standards will develop supplemental resources and statewide professional development to include face-to-face, regional, and virtual sessions, and webinars and online courses, with full implementation for instruction and assessment to be in the 2025-26 school year. The math team is already planning for resources that will be needed for implementation. This graphic is included in the standards document. It reflects the makeup of the writing team. It does not include participation in review committees, the Vertical Articulation Committee, or focus groups. Each section will be addressed in the next few slides. Committee members were broken up into grade bands for work. The writing team was representative of the demographic characteristics of South Carolina. Likewise, each grade band group was created to reflect those same demographics. When you look at the graphic on the left, you can see the breakdown of participants. The 9-12 group was slightly larger than the other groups due to the number of courses and the amount of content that needed to be addressed. All members of the writing team were experts in the area of mathematics. Some team members had expertise in additional areas, including gifted and talented, advanced placement, and special education, as well as teachers of multilingual learners. Team members varied in experience from as few as 1 to 5 years to as many as 31 or more years in the profession, and everything in between. There was a statewide invitation for participation on the writing committee. Based on the applicants, these are the districts that were represented by the writing team. Not every district was represented on the writing team. However, other districts were represented within the review and revision process through the review committees, the Vertical Articulation Committee, and focus groups. There will also be future opportunities during the implementation phase for districts to be represented through the assessment committees, instructional materials committees, committees creating resources, and hosting of professional development. The Office of Assessment and Standards is committed to including representation from all districts in some capacity during the review, revision, and implementation phase. The writing team included representation from the state's smaller districts as well as larger districts. The demographics of the writing team closely parallel the demographics of the state as seen in the graphic on the left. On the right, the graphic shows that classroom teachers, those who are in the trenches using these standards on a daily basis, make up the majority of the writing team. This slide begins a comparison of the 2015 standards to the draft of the 2023 standards. On the left, you'll see the structure of the 2015 standards, and on the right, you'll see changes that were made in the 2023 standards document. Changes were made based on recommendations from the EOC review of the 2015 standards, the Office of Assessment review of the 2015 standards, and current research from the writing team and Office of Assessment Standards Education Associates. I'll take a moment to let you review the information. You'll notice that the information on this slide highlights shifts in clarity and specificity. The organization and coding follows the same format as the recently approved 2023 South Carolina College and Career Ready English Language Arts Standards. There are strand names that are consistent from kindergarten through high school. However, some high school courses are specialized and do not necessarily contain standards from all of the strands. Within the grade bands K2, 3-5, and 6-8, the standards are consistent, leading to an ease of vertical articulation and progression between grade levels. Indicator insights have been included for each indicator, providing additional instructional considerations and connections, eliminating the need for interpretation. As Mr. Ferguson referred to earlier, we did look at prioritizing the learning. So to have a more concise document, that learning was prioritized for the concepts that are developmentally appropriate and necessary in order to build the foundation for future learning. This prioritization resulted in a reduction of the indicators. As noted on the previous slide, the standards have been redesigned. In 2015, learning progressed through numbered standards, and in some cases, there were lettered standards underneath those numbered standards. The 2023 draft has consistent standards within the grade bands, and the progression of learning is actually found within the indicators. This slide shows the number of pieces of learning that were found in the numbered and lettered standards of the 2015 document compared to the indicators of the 2023 document for grades kindergarten through 5th. Notice across the board, the number has been reduced. Here are the numbers for grades 6 through calculus. Calculus did not change. However, all of the others have been reduced. In addition to reducing the number of indicators or pieces of learning, the range of the number of indicators for all grades is more consistent than in 2015. The range in the 2023 document ranges from 18 to 42. In the 2015 document, the pieces of learning range from 27 to 104. This slide is a continuation of the comparison of the 2015 and 2023 standards. The theme for this slide is college, career, and military readiness. I'll give you a moment to look at this. The mathematical process skills are those skills and processes that are applied in math and can be applied in other content areas. These process skills also are addressed in the profile of the South Carolina graduate. The skills learned through the mathematical process standards are the same for all students, but what the skills look like in action vary depending on the developmental level of the students. Therefore, the descriptions or the indicator insights for those mathematical process standards are written to be specific for each grade band. In today's society, everyone is inundated with data and information. Students need to learn how to determine what is important, synthesize the information, and make decisions based on that information. The 2023 Math Standards document contains a focus on data starting in kindergarten and working throughout high school. This shift was made based on feedback from various groups, as well as keeping in mind that college, career, and military readiness. The 2015 standards document does not contain a plan for accelerated students in middle school. While some schools ensure that students do not miss standards, students in other schools skip an entire grade level of standards, placing them at a disadvantage. The 2023 document contains advanced level standards for 7th and 8th grade students to ensure that students do not skip vital content. Standards compacted into those advanced courses for middle school are aligned with similar content, allowing students deeper learning of those concepts rather than adding additional concepts. New to the 2023 Math Standards document is a choice in high school pathways. The realignment of courses includes a career or military pathway with new course options. This graphic shows the pathway options for high school students. You will notice that geometry with statistics comes before Algebra 1. Research shows that students progress through stages of learning: concrete, representational, and abstract. The current geometry course is an application of abstract algebra concepts previously learned. In the 2023 standards document, geometry with statistics has been redesigned. It's the concrete and representational learning of the concepts using lines, shapes, and figures before the abstract learning of equations and procedures in Algebra 1. As a result, students should be better prepared for Algebra 1. Many students are not cognitively ready for Algebra 1, and the struggle is real. This lack of readiness has prompted the need for remedial high school courses prior to Algebra 1. The redesigned geometry with statistics eliminates the need for these courses. The redesign and reorder of Algebra 1 does not change the fact that Algebra 1 is the gateway course. The Office of Assessment and Standards strongly recommends that Algebra 1 remain the EOC EP course. After completing Algebra 1, students have a choice of pathways. They may follow the traditional college-ready pathway to Algebra 2 with probability, and then have 4 course options. Oops. Okay. Many students on this pathway will take more than the 4 units of math required for graduation, and the courses in the box on the right can be taken in any order. Geometry with statistics is the recommended course for high school credit in middle school. The other pathway for career or military readiness moves to the box at the bottom of the graphic. Students may take either course from the box in any order. These 2 courses can be terminating courses, giving students their 4 units of math required for graduation. However, if a student decides that he wants to go to college, he is not bound to that pathway. At any point in time, he can jump back to the Algebra 2 with probability and continue on the college readiness pathway. Alternately, a student could move from Algebra 2 with probability down to one of the courses in the career and military pathway. Public review for the math standards followed the same format that was used for the English Language Arts standards and was modeled after the Fordham Institute survey. Public review was held from May 3rd through June 12th of 2023 for a total of 41 days. Information about the public review was shared with stakeholders through a variety of means, including the district memorandum posted on the website and shared with math leaders in the South Carolina Leaders of Mathematics Education and the South Carolina Council of Teachers of Mathematics during their meetings. At the same time that the standards were available for public review, focus groups were held with community stakeholders. The focus groups used the same rating system to provide feedback. All of the feedback from the public review and focus groups was made available to the writing committee, regardless of whether it was actionable, such as not actionable, such as I like indicator insights, or required committee consideration and decisions, such as a gap in learning. All feedback of the survey was discussed with the writing team, and a consensus was made on what actionable steps needed to be taken based on the rating and the comments. The team was given time to make final revisions. All feedback, edits, and revisions have been archived. All of the work that I have described brings us back to today. On behalf of the Office of Assessment and Standards, I request approval of the first reading of the 2023 South Carolina College and Career Ready Mathematics Standards. Thank you.
Are there any questions or comments for Ms. Ammon?
Yes, Madam Chair. Couple comments and a question. So first, this is impressive. I read through the whole document, and it's amazing. It's excellent work. So I want to congratulate your writing team. They did an awesome job on this.
Thank you.
I am disappointed to see that the upstate and the Midlands areas were very well represented in your writing team, and disappointed to see that the PD and the Low Country, not so much. But from what you tell us, that sounds like we just didn't have anyone that put their hand up, huh? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So when they complain about not having any input, I'm going to let them know that that's their fault.
Yes.
So, as far as these standards going into effect, do we have a plan for making sure that the assessments of this of the new standards will be the questions will be validated in addition or in before the standards are actually in place, so that we're not having a gap in the validated assessments?
Okay.
Good morning. I'm Lou Allen Shealy, and I'm the interim director of the Office of Assessment and Standards. I previously worked with test development. So the plan for assessment is we will have a professional development year while we are developing test questions. They will be field tested in the interim year, and there will be no gap. So there'll be field testing on the standards that overlap, and then we'll have in 25-26 the new test. So there will not be a gap.
Perfect, thank you.
Should not be a gap.
There you go. Good answer. That's all for me, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Yes.
Ms. Ammons and your team, thank you so much for the work that you've done. Question being, in this entire process, how involved, if any, was higher ed in the state?
They were involved in the review process. We had some outside consultants during the writing process, and part of that was through higher ed. And then those focus groups that I talked about during the public review time, we had representatives from higher ed involved in those as well.
Okay, so as we move forward, there should not be a problem between a graduate moving into a career in any of our schools in the state.
There should not be. We would hope not with the input that we have had.
Okay, and as far as our counselors, when this moves forward, they will be, of course, very much involved in the implementation and guiding students in the state.
We are already preparing professional development for those counselors and knowing what will be phased out, what will be added in, and what those options will be for students.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, may I ask a question, please?
Sure. Yes, sir.
This is impressive work, and I thank you for it and your committee and everybody involved. But the question I have may not have anything to do with the standards as much as it has to do with the students' learning of math based on these standards that are presented. What happens at the school level, particularly the classroom level, but the school too, making decisions about putting teachers in certain classes and so forth, affects the students' competency at each grade level. How often do we assess, or is there a system for assessing the students at each grade level to ensure that they, number one, that they got the information and determine whether it's because they're not being taught or it's because they weren't able to learn? I mean, what are we doing to ensure that the graduate has the math competency they need to meet these standards? And too often I go into classes to help out and find out that we've got math teachers that are not qualified to teach the subject that they're teaching. How in the world are these standards going to help those people? Maybe that's a whole different ballgame and a whole different problem.
That is a big can of worms. I will say that standards is not going to fix the problem in itself. Standards are a good start, but it ultimately does come down to the instruction. And we are planning professional development for teachers regardless of what their certification is, so that they will be well prepared to teach these standards.
So you have some standards in place to where a person that's not qualified would not be in that classroom.
That would not be my decision to make.
Are there any other questions or comments?
I have a question, Madam Chair. Thank you for this work and for streamlining the standards. I have a question about what, on the comparison chart and the Algebra 1 new changes as far as the geometry and statistics. Right now, is the geometry and statistics being taught in 8th grade or 7th grade? In middle school, at what point are they taught that?
In the traditional pathway, students would have regular 6th, 7th, and 8th grade math, and then 9th grade would be Algebra 1 with geometry as a 10th grade course. This is flip-flopping that so that the geometry with statistics would become the 9th grade course and Algebra 1 would be the 10th grade course. As far as those advanced students, currently the majority of advanced courses in middle school are Algebra 1. We do have some districts in the state that have Algebra 1 and geometry in middle schools, and so that is still a possibility.
So would that change? Will middle schools who now teach Algebra 1 to 8th graders, will they switch to geometry and statistics, or will they still do Algebra 1?
Our recommendation is that they switch to geometry with statistics, and the compacted standards that we have for 7th and 8th grade reflect that.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you mind if I make one interjection?
Sure.
Thank you. I was going to say, and it led perfectly into what you were saying, but I am so appreciative of just the advanced level standards for middle school. We always ask our teachers to make sure we do that in our schools and try to make sure you catch any standards they'll miss, but having it actually written in here and having a set of standards that reflects that, I think is so powerful for us statewide. So thank you so much for that and for listening to the cries of educators across the state about streamlining them and really reflecting and being able to have these reflect the things people have been asking for as far as moving forward with the math standards. So thank you to everyone. I know see many faces out there I recognize, but thank you so much for all of your hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any others? You have to be polite and let others on your committee speak before you speak. I'm excited. I am so excited about what I've heard. And Dr. Hanley, I understand how you feel because in the past I've had those concerns, but I'm so grateful that I have one county in my circuit that's represented. Yay! Yay for Sumter County. I loved what I saw where the teachers had, the majority of them were a part of what was going on, because it is where the rubber meets the road. And it's a sad commentary when our teachers may not understand the standards of what they're supposed to be doing. So kudos to each and every one of you. I'm so happy with what I've seen. And I have a lot of grandchildren, and I'm going to start letting them know, the little ones that are in 5th grade, you know, the progression, what's about to happen to the poor little things. They're going to be dealing with geometry and statistics. But I was like, oh my God. So switching that up. I know you all know what you're doing. I just took math, passed it because my mama made me do that, and so I could go to college. But, you know, for those who are really in it, thank you. Thank you for all that we have witnessed and that we have seen. And thank you to the board members who've had comments and questions. I'm excited, and I'm just praying that because of our teacher shortage, that we will have, you know, apt teachers to be hired in the state of South Carolina that will help our children get to college and career readiness. Thank you so much. Anyone else?
Thank you.
Okay, so we now seek a motion to approve SLA action item number 1 within our committee. Is there a motion to approve?
I so move.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Hanley. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Ammon. I do have a motion to place action item number 1 on the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Yes, so moved.
Okay, Dr. Hanley, I don't think I said that right, but Dr. Hanley, thank you for the motion to approve 01 on the consent agenda. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson, for seconding the motion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. The item SLA 01 will be added to our consent agenda. Is there any other business to come before the committee? Okay, with no other business, we will adjourn. Thank you, and have a wonderful morning.